Hello, I'm David Giese, the CEO and co-founder of Analytics. In this video, I'm going to provide a few pointers for using Notion effectively. So I spend a lot of time in Notion, and I think I found some tips that can make you just move around a little bit more quickly, especially if you haven't used the tool before. So a few things to start off with. One is if you find yourself going back and forth between particular pages frequently, like let's say you have a checklist here that you've been working through and you're often going to it. It's very helpful to use the favorites, and if you favorite the bar, it'll show up over here in your sidebar, or the page will show up here on the sidebar. Another useful navigation tool is Apple K, which lets you pull up this very convenient search page, and they have some more advanced features, but often I find it's so good it just finds the page I want pretty quickly. Another thing for navigating is if you're operating in a database, say I have this product database, or maybe more realistically I'm in the requirements database and I'm filling in properties in a particular page. You can navigate between the pages using these little arrow keys. And in particular, it's Control-Shift-J and K. So you can see over here on the left, as I press Control-Shift-K, I move up and down through the pages. In certain situations, that can be really helpful. Another very useful keyboard shortcut on a Mac, it's Apple and then left square bracket, and that takes you back. So it's like clicking the back button in a browser. And so that's especially useful if, let's say you click on a link and then you read what you need to read and then you want to go back to where you were. So pressing Apple left square bracket does that nicely. Another really useful thing to know about is that if you have the Notion app, which I highly recommend downloading if you're using it more than a little bit, on Mac it's Apple Shift N, and that creates another window. And that's, hopefully Notion adds the ability to create tabs sometime soon. I think that's on their list of features they're working on. But in the meantime, duplicating the page and then pulling up two pages at once is often really helpful. I'll usually have like 5 or 6 pages going at the same time. Another thing to know about is, let's say you're working on 2 databases at the same time and it gets frustrating moving back and forth between them. You can create a page like I've done over here that has linked views into the databases. So you can tell because the little arrow here, these look like databases, but they're actually linked views into existing databases. And furthermore, let's say you're working on just a particular part of the database and you want to filter it down somehow. So like maybe this is a silly example, but let's say we only want to see the cybersecurity or hazardous situations related to cybersecurity. By the way, I know the data in here is all kind of garbage, but what we can do is we can create a filter. Say I only want to see the ones that are related to cybersecurity, and that filters down the database. You can operate it like this, and then if it's useful for other people to see your filters or sorts, you can then click Save for everyone. Here, just to show it off here, I'll say you can also create new views. So if I click here, I can say Duplicate. That creates a new view. I'll say Cybersecurity here. And then, again, you can create a filter like so, Save for everyone, and then now you have this view that's filtered down to just cybersecurity, always here if you need it. And so you can create as many of these workflow pages as you like that are filtered down to just what you're working on, and it won't touch the original databases, except of course if you edit the data, then it edits it in the related database at the same time. One other thing that's very useful to know about is the concept of templates. So if you have a database and you're finding that you're often creating pages that have similar content, you can create what they call what Notion calls a template. So here, if I click this, it'll create a new meeting, and in it, it has a template that's preset. And if I wanted to then add a new template or edit the existing template, I can go in here, and you can see at the top it says you're editing in a template. So if you find yourself creating the same content over and over, this is one way to do that. I think that covers all of the main tips I wanted to talk about. So hopefully those are helpful.